Hello, Mark, and welcome to the Fluent Reads Growth Series. How are you doing today?
Yeah, fine, thank you. It's a bit hot today, but I'm still not sweating, so right on. And you froze. Hello.
Yes. Sorry. Okay.
Okay.
No? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. So how would you like to, can you introduce yourself to the Fluent Reads community, Mark?
Well, my name is Mark, and I am a PR from Barcelona. I am an independent PR, but I am working for several agencies as well, and I am working for right now several startups. I have been a PR for 6 years already, but before I worked as a journalist as well, freelance journalist, main of the time. And well, yeah, that's what I am doing now, which is I am on the other side. Before I was serving my audience, and now I'm serving my clients to get noticed to the audience through journalists and give them prestige and give them notoriety as well. And there is something about PRs, public relations, that some people don't understand, and it's that basically I don't sell. No PR sells anything. We give prestige to the company that it's our client. We make them noticeable, and if there is anything wrong going on with the company or going on with the customer slash user slash client relationship with the company, and I don't know, or there is any crisis situation affecting the company, we help the company as well to go through that. It's when I say that if you commit a murder, you still have right for an attorney in front of the law. So we are more or less attorneys in when it happens, when there's a company that messes up. We are kind of attorneys in front of the public opinion, which is something that it's very illicit, and it's very misunderstood sometimes. But I think that it's something that it's quite fair as well for companies when they are struggling with public opinion. So yeah, that's what we are here for. But basically, I didn't have any trouble like that, any huge crisis like that, and most of the crises are the companies are prone to diffuse those crises before they happen. So yeah.
Okay. Okay, great. Thanks for giving that explanation. I agree with you. Sometimes it can be a bit confusing, or most people assume that it's one thing, and you gave a very clear explanation. Yeah, of what it is and what you actually do. Okay, so before we
Yeah.
start, we're
No,
yes, sorry.
because
No, continue. Sorry.
no, it's all right. It's all right. Let's go into the beef. Come on,
Okay. All right.
let's do that
So before we
because
before
I
we
could be all day.
okay. So before we start our growth series, can you tell us a little bit about your English learning journey?
Well, actually, I started learning English when I was a kid at primary school, and I have an older sister. She's 11 years older than me. I am the little of three brothers, and she already had a great level of English at that time. And when I was when I was starting middle school, she went abroad to live. She went to Liverpool, and then she find an Aussie guy, and she was married, and then now she's living in Australia after 23, 24 years afterwards. And I think that English to me was something that because of my sister, basically, this is something that it was a big goal for me to talk in English, to explain myself in English, and as well when my nephews were born, to be able to communicate with them, because they don't that's a pity. They don't speak Catalan. They don't speak Spanish either. They only speak English. And but still, it's great that I can talk to them, especially because there is this family thing that I can talk to them. I can love with them. I can give them advice, even if they are on the other side of the world. And as well, when I was 20 something, I went to Australia as well for a couple of years to study master's degree there. So my English improved quite well, but as well because I am a journalist and I work with language. Well, I say I am a PR, but I am a journalist by my heart. Right now, I'm working on the other side of communications, but still, I'm working with words. I am working with language. I am working with that's my raw material, and of course, English is it's a very simple language to learn in comparison to Catalan or in comparison to Spanish, because it has a very simple grammar, and it has like very the syntax is quite simple to understand as well. But lexicon, that's what it kills me, and all the phrasal verbs and all the false friends that you may find and everything like that. That's the tough part. But still, after I came back from Australia, I attended another course for English for journalists, and then you understand how news are written, and they are written very differently from the Spanish style. Even if you go to Mexico, my wife is from Mexico as well. You go there and you see that the news are written in a different style than in Spain. And then now that I am also doing the PR campaign for a company from here, from Catalonia, but I am PRing for them for the United States, you also learn that it's something that it's not only the language, but it's also the culture, and it's overwhelming sometimes, but at the same time, it's very enriching, because now I know English, I know how they work in the US, I know how they write the news, I know how to write a press release that it's catchy enough for the journalist to be published, or for my client CEO to be interviewed. And I have to say that, and modesty apart, that I am successful in this campaign of letting know my client who is from Barcelona. They have the headquarters here in Barcelona, and they are well known in the state right now. And yeah, well, that's the medal.
Okay, perfect. You've had some great experience and exposure to the language and language in general, working as a communicator, as a journalist as well. Okay,
Yeah,
so we're gonna get
yeah.
into the we're gonna get into the growth series. So we're mainly gonna be talking about soft skills and other current topics related to personal and professional growth.
Mm-hmm.
So, Mark, can you first tell us what are soft skills in your opinion? How would you describe them?
Soft skills. I guess what there is in Spain, there is something that we are in Spain in general. I mean, not only Catalonia, but in Spain, there's something that we say that people has to have calle. Calle is the street. They have to
Uh-huh.
be in the street. They have to be. They have to know how to move around in the street. The streets are dangerous, are jungle. There is people who could be more. There's people who could be more stupid than you, or more clever than you, and you have to deal with them, and you have to outsmart them on a certain way. And soft skills at some point are this element that makes you to survive certain situations, whether they are in the street, whether they are in an office, or in an environment which is not good for you. like, I don't know, like a hostile office environment, or I don't know, something like that. And this is what it makes you survive. These soft skills are something that you don't learn in an academia. It's not let's learn English. No, it's something that you have to learn per se, unless you have a mentor that teaches you this kind of things. A mentor, not properly a mentor, but I don't know, your parents, your dad, your mom, your uncle, I don't know, your best friend, I don't know, somebody who you trust, and and this guy trusts you either enough. And these are the soft skills: how to behave in public, how to talk, how to behave, how to soft skills are this kind. How to be confident in a situation where you cannot fail, in the sense that I don't know, this interview, for instance, it's something that it's like I could be kind of uncomfortable for some people who are not prone to be interviewed, and I am using a lot of soft skills here. But there's people who are not prone to be interviewed, and would be like, uh, 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 and this is something that is a lack of soft skills. And this is as well soft skills. I work a lot with soft skills as well in my career, especially because I also train people how to talk in public, how to behave in public, how to talk in front of a microphone, how to talk in front of a camera, etc., etc. How to react to uncomfortable questions. So yeah, soft skills are everything to me in that sense.
Okay, great, great, great. All right, so we're gonna start with some of the soft skills and the topics that we have here for today. So basically, I'm going to give you a topic or a soft skill, and you're basically going to, explain and give examples, stories, and anecdotes, um, whichever way you like.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So
Okay.
we're gonna start with the first one, collaboration.
Collaboration. That's something that um, collaboration means that you share the same goal with another person or with another organization, and this person or this organization, regardless you like each other or you do not like each other, and that's quite very strong soft skill here. You collaborate, you join together to achieve that goal. For instance, I have in my um, stage, in my life stage as a journalist, I had the lucky. I was lucky enough to cover Parliament, the Catalan Parliament, especially when, I don't know if you remember, a few years ago that there was about, Catalonia is going to be independent or not. That was the question. That was the hot topic around. So I was there. I was covering Parliament, parliamentary stuff there, and I could see people who actually despise each other personally, like a lot, getting all together for one common goal and trying to behave in front of the public and trying to not to screw up. And collaboration is not always a path of roses, especially um, for instance, in Spain, there's a lot of homework that you have to do collaboratively with your classmates, and sometimes, most of the time, teachers just make the groups all together. Okay, you four, you're gonna make a group. You four, you're gonna make a group, and the grade is for all of you all together. And of course, there is this guy who is like, I don't like this group, whatever, but you have to work together. That's something that, at least here in Spain, we tend to, we have acquired this soft skill as well. through academia. That's an irony, but still, that's something that that if you have a common goal with some other persons, just and you cannot achieve it by your own, just go. Despite you, in the best case scenario, you end up being best friends or I don't know, drink mates or whatever. Worst case scenario, you achieve the goal. Okay, bye bye, that's it. And also collaboration brings something that is very important, that you don't take your teammate as a dumbass, in the sense that you don't make you may make him, after achieving that goal, your opponent, but you don't lower him, because at one time it has been your teammate, and this collaboration builds some respect as well. You may not have the same ideas as the other part, or may not follow the same rhythm or whatever, or may not, but at least you have some respect. That's something that at the very end, I think that teamwork and collaboration brings respect to the other parts.
Okay, perfect, perfect. All right, let's move on to our next one, communication skills.
Oh, that's a good one. You chose that one because of me, isn't it? Okay, so communication skills, of course, that serves my foot on the table, and that's something very important to me. Communication skills are very, very, very important, and I am not saying only that somebody or someone has to communicate, like because communication doesn't happen if there is. It's the first axiom of communication. Communication consists of an emitter and a receiver. If there is not emitter or there is not receiver, there is no communication. And to be an effective communicator, you have to have a receiver. In this case, right now, I am the emitter, the emitter of a message, and you are one of my receivers, because afterwards, when you upload this on the internet, there will be a lot of receivers of this message that I am giving right now. I am getting a little bit academic here, but and not every time you have to communicate. The thing is that every time you are communicating at the same, in the sense that if everyone is watching you and you are doing nothing, you are still communicating that you are doing nothing. And the thing is, what we want as a soft skill is to be an effective communicator, not to be a communicator, because communicator is like, okay, I'm part of a herd, I am walking, I am doing, I don't know, whatever. As soon as anyone is watching you, you are communicating whether you want it or not. And but effective communication is something that you also want to have, you as a person, because you want to influence, or you want to change the conduct of a person. In this case, I want you to learn what effective communication is. For instance, if I tell you, hey, can you clean up the table? It means that I want you to change the behavior to clean the table, whatever. But yeah, communication is something that is also effective communication. In the case, is something that is very effective to get the things that you want to be done. In the sense that if you want something, you have to say that you want something. If you don't want something, you have to say that you don't want that something. Like punk rock. Punk rock, most of the bands, I am a big fan of the Ramones, and most of the songs of the Ramones, I want to be buried in a, I want to be your boyfriend. I don't want to be buried in a pet cemetery. Now I want to sniff some glue. I don't want to be a pinhead no more, etc., etc. So they are very clear on what they want, what they don't want. So I think that they do fall in this category of being a very clear, good communicators, and this is why they have been so successful. Because at the very end, communicators who have a clear message and they state very clearly what they want, what they don't want, in life, or from you, or from society, or something like that, they achieve this kind of success. And now I was going to say, this is why, for instance, right now, far right and far left politics are winning, because they are very clear on what they want and what they don't want, instead of big, huge of the traditional political areas here in Europe, that they have been a little bit more grayish, which is not bad, by the way, because the very end, politics, commitment, again, teamwork, collaboration, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that's my piece of political analysis here. So yeah, communication. That would be much it.
Okay, perfect. All right, we're gonna move on to critical thinking.
Oh, my critical thinking. That's a great one. Critical thinking is that you don't have. That's a very I can say the word. That's a very bitchy one, in the sense that critical thinking is something that you don't have to believe the first person that tells you something. In the say that, yeah, well, I've seen, I don't know, that's following the political thing that I was telling you before, just right now. For instance, right now, unluckily, far right political parties are gaining terrain in Europe. For instance, in Spain, there is Vox, and they are in several institutions, and they came from not the ignorance of the people, but the lack of critical thinking of those people, and the thing that there is this belief that if you want to be smart, or you want to be you have to follow the path of somebody blindly, in the sense that this is A because I say that it's B, that it's A, and your followers have to follow this thing because I say so. But they don't. These people don't make this critical thinking. They say, "Oh, this is really A. This is really, I don't know, white. This is really black. This is really, I don't know, yellow or something like that. Is this really good for me?" No, it's because it's more easier to, okay, I trust you. Come on, yeah, that's something. Let's collaborate. Let's go team building, whatever. So yeah, we are a team, and because A is A, we're gonna keep our goal. But most of the time, it's not that way. And there is something that sometimes pisses off my friends and my wife and my family, and it's that I always ask for a second point of view. That's because my journalist background, not to trust only one source, and
Hmm.
always ask for more sources. So, in the sense that this is something that when you are in uni studying journalism or studying communications, teachers, they tell you a lot to make this double check, and and they are very pissed off. But that's my job as well, as a citizen. Like, okay, I have to double check these sources. I have to apply my critical thinking here. And why you say that this is true? Why you say that, I don't know, that why are you so confident that Messi scored 31 goals in the season? Blah, 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 blah. Okay, let's go double check. Let's check Wikipedia. Okay, but let's check another source. Okay, let's check La Liga score. Okay, yeah, that's something that it's okay. Yeah, okay, now I believe you. And this critical thinking, of course, can turn sometimes to this kind of distrust, in the sense that, okay, because you are now not trusting me, I don't have to trust you. But at the very end, I think that it's very healthy to double check references, and to make this critical thinking at the same time, and question it, and I question things, in the sense that, okay, why do I have to do this thing only because you told me so? But at the same time, again, this thought about what do I have to do, what you tell me, has been applied as well by some other not by groups that they are anti everything. Like, I don't know, for instance, vaccines. When COVID, why do I have to get vaccinated? Okay, yeah, but there is a lot of evidence that says that vaccines are good and vaccines have treated diseases. Yeah, but why? And that's something that it's okay. That's not critical thinking. That's just like, okay, there is somebody who has inoculated you some stupid idea, and you are not willing to hear this. There are lots of evidences. When they are giving you evidences, okay, you have to surround and you have to say, you have to surrender to the evidence, and you have to say, okay, that's evidence enough to me to, I don't know, get vaccinated, go to vote, I don't know, pay my taxes, do things that people should do to bring some decency. So, but it's still critical thinking in the sense to, when something sounds odd, apply critical thinking. And afterwards, if that oddity proves that it's not that stupid as it has to be, okay, then go follow the rule, follow the whatever your leader said. Okay, go. But first, don't trust 100% what you're told.
Okay, great advice. And emotional intelligence.
Pardon me?
Emotional intelligence.
Yeah, emotional intelligence. Okay, that's something as well. Along with collaboration, they are go hand by hand in the sense that, again, you can. That's something that makes us human as well. There are several intelligences, like the mathematical, the logical one, that I think that they are the same. I don't remember exactly how many number of intelligence, but um, I I know that the emotional intelligence is one that makes certain living things like humans, like dogs, like cats, even crocodiles. I think what we are, what that we are species that would like to live together, and emotional intelligence is something that we should honor in the sense that, for instance, I had this client, not this client, this guy who called me and he told me to make a project for him. Okay, so I I made this PowerPoint, I made this budget for him. Okay, I sent it over, and afterwards there was some movements from his client, and I already know that it was not going to happen because the movements that happened in the project within the final client was not him, was another big one, and but he told me nothing. Okay, so let's wait. Nothing. Okay, I called him. Nothing. He didn't pick up the phone. And I thought, well, this guy is just like, he only goes for the money, and if and if anything goes wrong, okay, he's like, okay, yeah, that's kind of poor emotional intelligence that he has. But and a couple of days a couple of days ago, I was in an event, and I met this girl who told me that he was working with this other guy. And I told him, well, this happened, that I sent him a proposal for this client and he never answered. I haven't received a WhatsApp and she told me, well, yeah, guess what? Just that his father passed away, like more or less when you told me that about that stuff, and I was like, ooh, okay. So what I had to do was, I thought, well, let's give him a call right now that it's been like a couple of months since I sent the proposal, and let's see how it happens. And I told him, well, yeah, sorry for your loss. And he was like very, he was grateful for telling him, for talking to him. Yeah. And he told me, well, sorry for not being very able. And I think that giving this kind of emotional response to somebody who is grieving, I think that that's the utmost. This is the utmost form of emotional intelligence, in the sense that, okay, I acknowledge you, I acknowledge that you are going through this, and I am sorry for your loss, and I know that it's hard for you. If you need anything, here I am. And I think that this is something that, and now I've heard myself, and I think, well, that's a bit bad that I say myself, but I think that yes, emotional intelligence at the very end is something that you have to be aware how to manage your feelings and how to understand the room of every situation. Again, for instance, if you are collaborating, if you are cooperating with somebody who you don't like for anything, he smells bad, he swears a lot, I don't know, you are a believer and he is an atheist, and you have to calm down as well and show that you have more emotional intelligence than the other person, and try not to kill him, because at the very end, emotional intelligence, it's not only about caring about us, but as well as caring for a common goal at the same time.
Okay, great, great, great. That's a great way of looking at it. Uh, Moving on to hard work versus smart work.
Yeah. People say traditionally that hard work is going to make you the person, the richest. It's going to make you wealthy. It's going to make you successful. It's going to make you, yeah. Well, hard work is true. It's something that hardens you. It's something that makes you, that brings you to shape. But it's much better to work smart. For instance, I have to send a lot of press releases when my clients say, okay, we have to send this press release, and sometimes I have to send press release to 1,000 journalists. I have my list of journalists, I have my list of contacts, and I have to send a lot of press releases, each of them, hello Brad, hello Tom, hello Casey, hello Arnold, hello whatever, and bring to you the latest news of my client that he has done tarara, tarara, tarara. And at the beginning I was sending those emails one by one, until somebody told me, well, yeah, there is this automation tool that you can send your emails like bulk mail, and this part of hello Pepito, hello Tomas, it's automatic. And I was like, wow. So yeah, so I tried, it worked, and I think that this is okay. I work smart here rather than working hard. Working hard would be like sending all the emails, all that stuff, one by one, staying until 3 a.m. in the morning, sending every Gmail. But I think that right now, as well, companies and companies and people, and they want people who work smarter as well than working hard, because at the very end, if you work smart, you can you can work more. That's something that, for instance, when I see movies from the 90s, that they are set in the 90s or in the early 2000s, I barely see computers in the offices. I see people with pen and pencil and a lot of paperwork. In the best case in the best case scenario, they have a typewriter, and it's like how they did everything. And the thing is that they weren't doing as much work as we do right now. They weren't processing so much information as we do, and they didn't do it as fast as we are doing. And working smart right now is a big asset. And in my field, for instance, can be frustrating in PR for some of my clients because they expect the same fast results that they are having in their own companies in their own areas. And what I tell them, for instance, you can do a SEO campaign or you can do a SEM campaign for Google Ads, and you can have results in a month. But my field is a little bit more old school in the sense that, okay, I'm doing public relations, and most of these public relations are person to person. And persons, we don't like rush. We don't like to be rushed. We like to talk things. We like to have a coffee. We like to be seduced, being communicated effectively, propose collaboration, etc., etc. All the skills that I said before. But still, we have to work smart. We have to move things fast. And this business, it's moving faster than before even. Public relations are not the same in the 70s that in the 90s. They are not the same even in the 2000s and 2020s. Right now, things even, especially since the lockdown, I haven't seen much of the journalists that I have on my agenda, and I have like large agenda from journalists from Spain and from the US and from the UK. I have only met like, I don't know, even not face to face. I mean, face to face, I haven't met like 1% of them. Most of them, I am sending emails, I am calling, working smart than working hard. So yeah. And the business changed, and all the business are changing, and most business, they have to be more focused on smart workers rather than hard workers too.
Okay, great, great. Let's move on to leadership.
Oh, well, actually, I think that one because I have been a leader for very few time in my life. I don't think that I am a leader per se, but I think that the leader has to be the first ignorant of the team, in the sense that I have had leaders and I have had bosses who are hawks in the office. They know everything. They know their company like up to the inch, and that's great. That's awesome. And they know the business, and they know perfection, and they know everything. And I learned a lot from them. And but and I have seen teammates that they became bosses of something, and when they became bosses of something, they forgot that they still have to learn, that they still have to know things, that they have to be hungry, that they have to be still ignorant about these things, about some things. Of course, they are mastering a lot of skills and a lot of the business, because they have spent hard work and they have spent a lot of time in the business. But leadership at the very end is that you're still learning, but what you have in your backpack, you have the opportunity to share it with the people that they are your subordinates, in the sense that, okay, they are not doing the job for you, but you have to inspire them, and you have to move them, and you have to learn from them at the same time. because at the very end, you have to keep them motivated. And one of the things that motivates anybody is people who want to know about you. Okay, and they make you questions. They make how do you work? Why do you work like that? Etc. Etc. And if you have any new trend that could serve me, how do you see the company, etc. Etc. Of course, sometimes leaders have to take drastic decisions, and this is when a leader becomes a boss again. But sometimes tough decisions have to be made, and still you can have you may have to fire somebody. You may have to I don't know, take some road that the rest of the team is not going to understand, but you have to show them afterwards that this was the right decision to do, to maintain the correct the right path for the team and for the company at the very end as well.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, leadership is not easy.
All right. Moving on to public speaking.
Okay, public speaking. Um, one of the things that I appreciate, one of the no what about public speaking. Okay, one advice: do something related to theater. Become an actor or amateur actor. It's not that close. It's not that far away to be a public speaker in that sense. If you know, being an actor, being especially in theater, in amateur theater, and Catalonia has a huge, enormous, gigantic tradition of amateur theater, you will learn how to move in the stage, how to manage your emotions, how to confront the crowd, how to control the tempos, how to memorize the text, a very long text as well. So yeah, I was very lucky because when I was around 7, my sister, she insisted me to enter this theater group in my hometown, Juventud de la Farándula, and I learned shit ton of things that afterwards I understood that they were like basics to be a public speaker and to be fearless in front of a camera, in front of a microphone, in front of a stage, and it's something magical as well being in that world, because aside from having the opportunity to learn to how to behave in front of a crowd, you have the opportunity to learn how your body works, because at the very end you're working with your body, you're working with your body language, you're working with, I don't know, how you move your feet, how you move your face, how to impersonate other people, how to make different characters as well. And this is a huge training for public speaking. And it doesn't matter if you are somebody who has shame, who is timid, who doesn't like to, who is an introvert or something like that. It doesn't have anything to do with that, because once you learn that once you are on stage, once that light is on, once that you have to speak, you have to speak, because it's part of your job, because you are on stage, it's showtime. And also you appreciate show business much more. And also I think that it makes you kind of funny as well after being involved in theater. So yeah, if you want to have great public speech soft skills, become an actor, an amateur actor, or do stand-up. stand-up comedy. There is nothing more terrifying for any people to get up in stage and start to talk about their miseries. But that's what stand-up comedy people do. And you can, and of course you're gonna bomb, you're gonna fail, no one is gonna love you, but still those are great tools. Or I don't know, or go to a karaoke and sing a lot, or do whatever you want. But being we have this thing in Spain that we are not very prone to speak in public, because nobody has taught us to speak in public. If you go to school in the US, there is this show and tell thing, where every, I don't know, 15 days or something like that, or every month or every day or every week, I don't know how I don't know the periodicity, but you have to go in front of your classmates and you have to explain something, or you have to debate something. We don't have anything like that in Spain, and it's a shame. It's a real shame. We don't have anything that shows kids how to speak in public. And this is why we have a big issue here with people that they don't know how to speak in public. So yeah, but theater is a great gate to start doing this and enjoying it as well.
Okay, great. Okay, so we're gonna move into our couple of topics that we have that are not necessarily soft skills, but they need soft skills
Okay.
in different ways. The first one is
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneurship.
Okay. Uh, so entrepreneurship. I started 1 year ago my company. Well, not my company, but I'm a freelancer. So here in Spain is basically the same. And I had no idea it's gonna be that tough. Actually, I am suffering. I am sweating. The taxation. I feel that the tax agency wants to make me poor every 3 months. It's real pain. It's real pain. You have to chase your clients, and but it's worth it though. It's worth it. There's people surrounding me who don't understand why I did this movement, why I became a freelancer, why I decided to start my own project. But the good thing is that it's right now we are talking in Thursday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I am free to make this interview. Afterwards, a long list of work expects ahead of me. But if I wouldn't be able to do this if I was working in a company or in an office. So these are the little, or working at home, working with my dogs, working with my wife. My wife, she's also working from home. But still, entrepreneurship per se, that's a huge word, and this is something that when I get into, I was like completely clueless about what was going to happen for the next year. And you have to have guts, and you have to have guts for not only for the business per se, but as well for the people who surrounds you. And of course, they are not going to think that you're going to fail, but when it's not the right moment, when things go west, when things go south, I mean, because they're going to go south at some point, you have to trust them as well. You have to trust your gut, and you have to just keep going, keep going.
Definitely. And congratulations on your new company.
No, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, and our last topic for today is a trendy topic, artificial intelligence.
Nobody knows about artificial intelligence. Nobody. I mean, everybody knows what artificial intelligence is, of course, and but I don't know how to apply artificial intelligence in my business aside from, hey, ChatGPT 3, help me with this editing this press release, or help me with this. I don't know. I have this client who wants to get in these forums. Tell me what forums about these kind of things, or and it's ChatGPT 3 is a very useful tool, but at the very end, I am just a user. I am, and it's like, okay, how much you know about, I don't know, iOS, or I don't know how much you know about Windows, or how much you know about, I don't know, Chrome, Google Chrome, or any other application. I know the user basics, but it's the future. Like, I don't know, and this is something that, of course, you are hearing a lot of news that we have to be aware of about about how we use it, about what we are feeding with artificial intelligence. And guess what? Yesterday I was talking with a friend of mine, and he told me he has a company that helps owners of small and medium businesses to monitor their ratings in Google Maps, which is quite cool. It's called Local Boss. Please download it. You have it on you have it on the App Store. You have it as well in Android App Store, on Google App Store as well. And he told me, I told him that some days ago I was in a blockchain conference, and he told me, well, move away from that, because that's already like passed out. That nobody's it's all about people who has tokens and they want to get rid of it, and it's something that it's dead. And he told me, why don't you make a course for journalists to interact with artificial intelligence? And I told him, I have no idea about artificial intelligence. And he told me, me neither, but I am building an app with AI and ChatGPT and Midjourney and all that stuff. And with this, you know about that. And well, now I am considering it. But because everybody's the same clueless as mine. Everybody is the same clueless. No idea. Zero. The only thing that we know is at some point Skynet is going to wake up and it's going to kill everybody. So at the meantime, let's go make some money. But but yeah, no, actually, the other day I was watching a video from BBC Mundo that they were saying that we are in the first stage of the artificial intelligence, because it's when right now you have several softwares from artificial intelligence, but they are only doing very good one thing. They can't do multiple things yet, in the sense that, okay, you have ChatGPT with it only has text, and that's it. And if you buy a Pro, I think that they can only make images as well. They do like beautiful images, of course, with deep fakes and everything. But I don't know, Otter only can translate what you're talking to text. Midjourney makes amazing illustrations. There is another one that makes but that's it. They only do this thing. There will be another stage when this artificial intelligence, they will start to make multiple things, like images, text, video, audio, and I don't know, programming per se, etc., etc. And there will be at some point that those machines, they will be able to control robots to make another machines, and then Skynet is gonna kill everybody. So yeah, it's more or less like this. They say that it's gonna be like this. So it's kind of like, yeah, well, yeah, we went through a pandemic right now. What else? But at the same time, it's kind of terrifying. The thing about that is because those machines, because artificial intelligence doubles each capacity of knowing things and executing things every X time, and this X time every time shortens up much more. And the question here is, are we ready to live with another being which is smarter with us in this planet? Because right now, for millions, for thousands of years, we have been the species who has like controlled the earth and the most intelligent and the only one that has culture, in the sense that culture and history and art and all that stuff. We have been the only ones who have been able to make it. My dogs, the only thing that they can do is run behind the ball, catch it, and bring it back. And I don't know, if I told them to sit, they sit and all that stuff. And they are lovely. I love them a lot. Again, emotional intelligence, but they can't do a drawing. They can't sing. Well, yeah, the little one, maybe she can a little bit, but still. And that's the thing. We are confronting us with some being that it's not natural, that it's not extraterrestrial either, but we build them, and it's gonna be smarter than us, and it's going to outsmart us in every kind of aspect. And the same question about, are we ready to live with that, brings the question that how much despicable are humans for making ourselves this question? Because of course we have done a lot of things that we think that they are right, but at the same time we fucked up the environment. We still do wars with between nations and between people, and at the very end there is a lot of people around who think that we are not doing all the good things that we can do as a species as well. So that brings a lot of that opens the door to a lot of questions around. So yeah, it's a huge topic about the artificial intelligence, and it's something that at the beginning is like, okay, yeah, some love, but if you scratch a bit, it's fucking serious.
Yes, 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 definitely. It's something that
Yep.
is, yeah, it's not going anywhere. Okay, so with these, wrapping up with the soft skills before we move on to the last part, we've talked about soft skills. You've applied it to, in a business context, you, as a journalist working in PR for many years. This last part, I want to essentially open it up to give, perhaps we can call it career advice. Sometimes there are people at different stages in their career. You see someone, you say, oh, I'm not there yet, but I would like to get there. So if you could specifically, from your point of view, you don't maybe have to talk to a very specific career, journalist or whatever, but what advice, based on all of your experience, would you give that could be
Mm-hmm.
maybe useful for your sector?
Um, at least once a year, be in a place where you're not comfortable with. A known place. It doesn't have to be that far away. I don't know, go to a neighborhood where you have never been before. Just go to a pub where you have never been before. Don't, and at some point as well, try to surround with people that you don't know, that you don't think that you are going to be comfortable with, and make it work. That's how a public relations is made. I think that a lot of people who hasn't hired a public relations, they only think that it's about, okay, yeah, I have my company and I want it to make it knowledgeable, but there is a lot of hard work, smart work as well, but a lot of hard work and a lot of pressuring your skills, putting yourself into positions that you don't want to, and be strong, because at the very end, Public relations do have a very hard job in the sense that you are managing the public image of a company. And the public image of a company is something that is very fragile. I like to remind that Silicon Valley Bank went to bankrupt because of very bad written press release, where they say that they lost a lot of money, and they said it like, okay, yeah, this is gonna happen. But the thing is as well that they didn't know how to communicate that they were expecting some money to come back as well. But and this is something that you can only achieve by getting yourself in places where you were not going to be welcome, or you're not going to be comfortable yourself, and you have to be very careful with your words. You have to be very careful with your movements. You have to be very careful with your demeanor, and that's the best training for a public relations, because sometimes you will also have to face this unknown, and you have to make it comfortable there. There is this phrase that says magic happens outside the box. That's bullshit. That's complete, utterly bullshit. You don't fucking go outside the box. You just make your box wider and wider. You conquer the surroundings of your box with every fucking step with a lot of pain. But then afterwards, your box is bigger, and the magic, the magic is inside the box right now. There is that movie that was produced from Netflix, which is Timothée Chalamet, The King, and it's about King Edward the Eighth. I don't know, King Edward, the one that was like King one, the English king that invaded France, and then he went nuts. He was and there is this pep talk that gives to his army, and he says, every step that you have is England. Every one of you is England. Every step that you're gonna have today is won by England. And that's much more what I think about it. Okay, every step that you're gonna give is the steps that you win, is the rank that you win. And that's the part. If the magic is out there, okay, then make it inside your fucking box. Don't just be a tourist, because it has no sense, because you're gonna get scared and you're gonna come back. The magic happens outside the box. What kind of shit happens? Magic is outside the box. Okay, fucking expand the box. That's it. Make your box bigger.
Okay, great. I think that's a great way of looking at it, and good advice for people interested in your field, but also people outside of it, with that perspective, because we typically that comes about, outside of the box, outside of the box. And I think the fact that you gave like, no, make it bigger, because you're always going to return to it. It's sort of like that comfort zone in a way.
Yeah. No, comfort zones are just, okay, go wherever you're not find comfortable. The next time you're gonna find comfortable there. That's it.
Exactly.
That's okay. That's best task. That's more or less the same. You don't have to be afraid. I don't know. Right now, I'm living in one area of Barcelona which is called Zona Franca, and and it's a place which only 4 years ago was a place where junkies came, just like in the place where this building is standing right now, and junkies came to hit their shot of heroin. And right now it's becoming a quite good neighborhood, and that strain gained. Still there, the beginning when we started living here, there were some people that were like shooting heroin, but you said, okay, I have to deal with this shit. I don't like it, but I have to deal with it. So how do I deal with that? How do I deal with people who is doing heroin in front of the door of my house? Like, It's not comfortable. Well, now it's not happening anymore, but and I know that there are some neighborhoods that I don't know, like around town, that they have the same problem, but massively. But yeah, sometimes it's not something desirable, but it's an experience that you have, and you have to take the best of it to move on and to make it like, okay, yeah, that was this guy who was doing heroin just behind, just in front of the door of my home. So how do I deal with it now? Luckily, it was only one, but still. Anyway.
Okay. All right. And lastly, in terms of advice, this is for in general. What advice would you give someone wanting to have the level you have in English, English for your career or whatever? But it's just general advice from your unique perspective
Hmm.
of how to feel more confident, essentially, as an English user in different aspects.
Mm, I would advise them to start watching movies and series in original version and subtitles in Spanish or in Catalan if they are comfortable with, or in their local language. Because most of the people who, at least here in Catalonia and Spain, they watch movies and they watch series that they come from the States or the United Kingdom. They watch it dubbed. Um, Lots of respect for people who are dubbing, but I rather, since I went to Australia and I started watching movies and series in English with subtitles, it's weird to me to hear people as well talking in a voice that it's not their own. And at the beginning, reading subtitles could be a little bit of an expense, but at the end, you end up like getting used to it. That's one of the first. As well, try to open your mind and try to find these people who are native English speakers, and expand your box and go find them. I don't know. Barcelona, for instance, is a very international city, and there's a lot of people. There's a lot of groups, and there's a lot of events where they do speak English, and ask questions when you don't understand anything. Ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. Double check, always double check. Okay. Critical thinking again. Why this? Why that? Why the other thing? Okay. And what else? If you have the chance, then go abroad. I don't know, go live abroad. When I left to Australia, there was no working holiday visa, so I had to pay myself a master's. Well, not myself, my family had to pay me a master's degree. But now, for instance, in Australia, there is the working holiday visa. You can stay there up to 2 years, I think, working in several fields, making your money and making your holidays. So yeah, that's a good chance as well to learn English, or I don't know, or go to some place that they do know English. Attend an academy, why not? Uh, just fail a lot, do it again, expand your box.
Okay. Okay.
So
Perfect.
yeah.
Perfect. Okay. All right. And lastly, this entire chat has you've given us great advice and your unique perspective with soft skills. Do you have any a question or any questions for me before we wrap up?
Yeah, how come you came with this podcast?
Why? Okay, so I worked with applied linguistics for over 10 years. So I worked with different, which is basically focusing on second language acquisition. So how you learn second language, but more the application. So although it's been primarily in
Mm.
English, I've also had this experience with people in other languages as well. And if you can summarize it, usually it comes down to confidence. It's a subjective experience that people are having when they're speaking a language. There's usually an inner voice that's usually quite critical with this experience. And also, if it's not that inner voice, it's externally. They're constantly comparing themselves to other. If you, even if they're a non-native speaker, they say, "Oh, well, my colleague speaks better, etc." So,
Mhm.
what I wanted to do with this is to find a way where we could kind of condense this together, but through community. I think community is extremely important because it gives you perspective, but it also
Mhm.
gives you a support system in a way. And because I've worked primarily with academics and professionals throughout this experience, I wanted to focus it on personal and professional development because the reality is the majority of people who want to increase their as adults wants to improve their language and communication skills. It's for a professional reason. You know, people may like languages, but most of the reasons they want
Mhm.
to optimize it is for professional reasons. So that's why I wanted to focus on personal and professional development. But I also wanted sort of this book club experience, and that's the everyone knows what a traditional book club is. You meet and you talk about a book, etc. And this is why one aspect is focused on nonfiction books, and on other chats we talk more specifically about these books that they're reading. But everyone doesn't read these books, frequently. But they're interested, and they also want to explore the content that's within inside this book, which essentially overlaps with different soft skills which we did. So because nothing like this essentially existed through a learner centric perspective, what I mean by this is typically if you want to find content on soft skills or nonfiction books, etc., there are a plethora of resources on YouTube or on Google, etc. But sometimes it lacks, or in many cases, it
Mhm.
lacks the learner perspective. And that's really important because that comes down to representation. If I'm a language learner, if I'm learning Catalan, if I'm learning Spanish or whatever, it's important to see myself reflected in this language experience as well. And for a native to constantly tell me,
Mhm.
"Oh yeah, this is it's a good perspective, but it's not the only perspective." And the fact that you're able to share your experience, you've been on a journey, which you explained in the beginning, and you've also ended with giving advice. It's so unique. It's also even gratifying. I wanted to be able to create an ecosystem to facilitate that process, to kind of create those ideas, nuggets, synergies, whatever could come about with that. And the start of this is having interviews like this, which we can share with the community to keep the essentially the conversation going.
Mhm. Oh, that's cool. That's quite cool. So yeah,
So
actually, that's one of the things that you said about English as a professional language. So yeah, that's what happens to me. But as well, to me, it's as well for a family language because I have to speak with my nephews with some language. So it would be odd because, but yeah, actually, because I had this relationship because I had my family, part of my family is living in Australia. So it was my duty. I felt it has been my duty to speak English with them and
yes,
to learn English and to understand English as well. So yeah, that's why I feel compelled rather than using it for a professional tool. Like yeah, most of the people I understand that most of the people they use English as a professional tool, but to me it was personal. It was something that
mm-hmm.
I had to because
Hmm.
otherwise, how could I communicate with my nephews at the moment when they were growing up? Now they are like young adults. But
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Also, I think it's important because a lot of
yeah,
people with a B2 or C1 level, upper intermediate advanced, there's a plateau that exists. There's a feeling when you feel stuck, and you don't necessarily need grammar classes. You may even need a teacher or something like that. But I think the stuckness, which is important, is could be informal learning, simply being interacting with the language, but you're
yeah.
having control over that. So that's why I think the
Mm.
community aspect, because when you put non-natives, natives together, or whatever, there are a lot of things that are going on that you're interacting with consciously, subconsciously. And that growth, although it may be subtle, maybe it's an expression or maybe it's something, it
Mm.
may shed some light on some of the ambiguity you may feel during the process. There's kind of like this mysterious aspect to language in a way where we're kind of we want to figure out like, okay, so what do I need next? How do I need it, etc. So that community perspective, whether it's you're listening to your interview, for example, in English, so you're getting the what you need from the language, but you're also getting, fulfilling content or whatever to for someone who working in PR and another aspect of thinking about, for example, when you're talking about
Mhm.
the magic in the box, they say, I've always been told like outside, but he's telling me inside. It's like, okay, so you're getting that win-win. I'm getting the language, but I'm also getting like insights from that. So I think being able to cultivate a space where where it's free to communicate and
Mhm.
share those ideas is that's essentially with the Fluent Reads community. That's the direction I would like to continue in. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and about that, to me, English is as well as language that I will never stop to learn. In the sense that I still think that my English is not that as good as I could be. Um, in part because I am still right now, because of my job, I am using it mostly daily. But people like there's people who are lucky enough to think that, well, lucky enough to have more, how would I say that? There's people that they have been looking out, or they have had, like, I don't know, maybe I don't think if they have had enough like closeness with English as I had in that sense. But I don't know, like sometimes when a non-English speaker comes with an accent as well, and speaks with an accent that, okay, you're from England. No, I'm from, I don't know, La Coruña. Well, you have an English. No, I don't have an accent, for instance. I'm not going to have an accent either, because but yeah, I acknowledge that there's people that they are more or less my age, that they didn't have my experiences, that, and they speak like hugely fluent English, much better than mine. But still, I am proud of my English though. And still in Barcelona, and even more in Madrid, when people ask me if I do speak English, I was answer them in English, and they realize that I can speak English. So yeah, that's something that it's good that I can communicate in English. I can explain my ideas, and I can explain the ideas of my client. I can like professionally manage a conversation, and I can have this. But still, there are some parts of English that I have still to learn. I am
Hmm.
still a beginner always.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
to me, it's more or less like it's day one to me, every day. Like, okay, I have to do it again, and I have to do it again, and I have to do it again. So yeah,
Exactly. Okay.
English to me it's something that, and I until I feel myself confident enough to give this kind of advices, I don't realize myself that, oh yeah, my English is quite good. Yeah. So thank
Okay.
you for
Perfect.
giving me the chance to.
Okay. So, Mark, thank you very much for all of the insights and information that you shared with me and the Fluent Reads community today, with these reviewing these different topics for the growth series. So, thank you again
Thank you very
for
much.
sharing this time with us.
Thank you.